Welcome back to another episode of Nerd Rant. I am Dr. Zombrain, also known as Seth, with my co-host...
Pickles and cheese sauce!
JJ, put a round of applause and add post-editing.
I definitely know how to do that. Wait, now I'm gonna have to try my best to actually do that. How dare you actually make me work for something?
As if you didn't have to work for the last episode.
Sheesh.
Okay, so anyone who listened to last week, you might have realized it was kind of scuffed. For my college, we do actually have access to a live, like a proper podcast radio setup, and we were able to do a live show, but we're still getting used to the technology, so it's a little scuffed. Wasn't great. We're getting there. Give us a few weeks, I don't know.
So I think I made it sound pretty good. I don't know if anybody's gonna notice.
I mean, for the live show as well.
Nobody listens to the live show.
Actually, we had 3 people the entire time, at least, if not more.
I mean, that's exciting. That's more views than we get on average per episode.
Shh, they don't need to know that. We're big shots.
Yeah.
We got a bajillion subscribers. We got 100,000 hours of listen time.
Exactly.
Listen every
time.
episode.
Yes, it's called listen time, guys.
You know, like common time in music?
No, I don't. I never took music theory.
It's not music theory at all. It's just basic. Common time's 4/4. It's common time, which is what most music's in.
But what is 4/4?
It's 4 beats where the measure's 4 beats.
But I don't think that's what 4 is for. I think 4 is for something else.
This is not Marvel. let's try to roll it back a little bit and bring it to our subject. This is definitely an episode for a later time.
We went over phases 1 through 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Definitely go watch that episode, or I guess
gave our opinions on each.
If you haven't.
Yeah, we gave our opinions on each movie out of 10. Talked a little bit about how that not only affected media, but just the MCU in general.
Mm-hmm. And in this episode, we're going to be going through phases 4 through 6. I know we technically haven't dipped our toes yet into 5 and 6, but we have the full slate for 5 and a little bit of 6. So we're going to talk about it, a few leaks and theories that might be going on during that time frame.
After phase 4, I think JJ's going to be rolling a little bit more, because I know what the movies are, but he knows some of the more leaks. Mm-hmm. So he's probably going to be rolling this episode a little bit more, as a little bit more of a lead.
Maybe just a tad.
So where do you want to start it off?
Yes. Alright, phase 4. The first one of phase 4, Black Widow.
So how do you want to go over this? Do you want to do phase 4 as what we did with the last one?
Yes.
Just try to make it go a little bit faster?
Try and rate things 1 to 10 for phase 4 at least. So starting with Black
1.
Widow.
I'm kidding. If it was the CGI, I'd give it a 3. CGI was horrible. I'm not even gonna lie. Did you like it?
No.
Do you think it was good?
It was genuine. Like if you threw a I don't know, I was going to try and make an analogy, but I couldn't think of anything fast enough. You threw a pizza pocket into a pool of lava. Don't question it, move on. It was bad.
CGI. Story-wise, it wasn't terrible, but even then, I'd say a 4.
Yeah.
Which really stinks, because I was really looking forward to the Black Widow movie, Hopper, from Stranger Things. I've only really seen him in that movie. That show, so it's kind of cool to see him as a different role. And not to mention, I really wanted to know a little bit more backstory, because that's definitely one of the characters I was most interested in the backstory, and it was crap.
Yeah, it just kind of came out dry.
Did we even get any backstory?
We got a little bit, a very slight amount, but it was not
other than
as much
her
as we
family.
promised.
I was hoping to learn more about the Red Room and everything.
Yeah, no, we did
and
not.
how
get as much
her
as we
transition,
were supposed to.
Or at least that we were hoping for. So, yeah, I'd say 4.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, I actually really liked. I
loved this one, too.
Enjoy this movie.
I actually saw it in theaters, too.
Yeah. Going into it, it's one of those that's it's stepping out of Marvel's usual domain, but I feel like they absolutely nailed it with this one. The cast and crew, amazing. They managed to still capture that humor with, sure, they had their comic relief character on the side. What was her name? Chloe, I think.
Yeah, she's a big comedian in general, too, isn't she?
I think,
for sure, she's a comedian.
But yeah, they absolutely nailed every aspect of this movie. It felt like if you mix, Karate Kid with a Marvel movie. It felt awesome.
No, for sure, yeah. It was... I'd say maybe an 8.
Yeah,
8 out of 10.
I would also say
Not
8.
to mention the CGI. That dragon was awesome.
It really was. For, like, the stuff that we got beforehand. Like, we got Black Widow, and then we got, like, Eternals and Doctor Strange. It's like, those were so poor CGI here. Whereas Shang-Chi, smack dab in the middle of them,
Not
had
to mention
all
that
the
the villain.
Yeah.
Like that villain, that big tentacle thing. What even were they called? I don't know. But that was awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
That was like,
It was so cool.
which we'll talk about a little later. It's like when we watched WandaVision, then we went to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm like, this is so CGI. This is not realistic whatsoever. And we're coming from WandaVision, which was gorgeous.
Yeah, very much was.
So, Eternals. I haven't seen Eternals yet.
Don't watch it. It's bad.
I literally have never heard a single good thing about it.
No, I suffered through watching it with my family. I sat down. It literally felt like they were trying their darndest to rip off the DC squad.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Wasn't it also like The Boys?
Uh,
I saw some comparisons to The Boys.
I guess you can make those comparisons. No, you know what was unexpected? In the end scene, do you know who made an appearance?
Your mom. I'm kidding, JJ's mom. I know you're probably listening. Maybe. I'm kidding.
Shh, don't tell her that.
You muted.
Yes, definitely. Anyways,
Who made a cameo?
oh gosh, now I forgot his name.
Oh my gosh.
The one singer guy from One Direction.
How am I supposed to know the One Direction people?
Let me Google it then, you muffin. Harry Styles. Harry Styles made an appearance in the end as, like, what was his name? Something Fox, like Space Fox or something like that.
That's great.
Right?
It's actually fantastic.
Harry Styles was the last person I expected to see in a Marvel movie, not gonna lie.
But, yeah, I'm not even gonna rate it. Like, if I haven't seen it, I'm not gonna rate it.
I put it 3, honestly. Just bad.
Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh my gosh.
Controversial opinion?
Out of 10. Best Marvel
1 out of 10.
movie
I'm kidding.
ever.
I'm kidding. I mean, how much do you want to go into this, since I feel like we already had a big talk about this already
We
earlier.
did talk about it a bit. I do want to dip my
But I guess
toe
it's
in
new.
here. I feel like this was the perfect setup for a Spider-Man movie. Like, after Into the Spider-Verse came out and everybody absolutely loved that, seeing all the different renditions of Spider-Man, this seemed like the only thing that could top it, right? Bring back all the live-action Spider-Man from the past, seeing as they've had so many renditions already. Put them all in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only a fan service, but they nailed it so well. Like, having them all compare, like that one scene where they're on the Statue of Liberty comparing the villains they've fought. It's like some of those references, like back pain, you'd only understand if you saw the Tobey Maguire series where he falls on the dumpster. Ow, my back! It's just it's fantastic.
With how I rate it, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I still very much think the Spider-Man in general are some of the better Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It's just the characters themselves. Like I said before, I watch the animated Spider-Man shows, so I just don't feel as nostalgic with other Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, just Spider-Man himself just isn't up there with some of my favorite characters. There's a lot more that I care more about and I've seen so much more of.
Yeah.
So that's why it's, and like I said before, I just feel like when a movie is so heavily based on that one thing, which are the other Spider-Man, for me personally, that just ruins it a little bit.
Yeah.
With some of these movies, when they're so overhyped, it makes me less hype because it's so overhyped. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about it. That kind of killed the hype for me, personally.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's just not for me. So for me personally, it was 7.5 out of 10. It was very good. One of my, I like the first Spider-Man a lot more. I think this is probably the second best Spider-Man, and I think the second Spider-Man was my least favorite of the Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, it's just not up there with my favorite Spider-Man, not just Spider-Man, MCU movies.
Yeah. For me, it's my number one, 10 out of 10 movie, so.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Movies specifically, movies. Because we're about to get where possibly, we have a few more, but eventually we're going to talk about some of my favorite MCU material, which are definitely some of these shows.
Yeah. But aside from that, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness!
So, I have some things to say. One, actually, there's a lot of people at my school that apparently didn't watch it because of all the satanic stuff, which I totally understand. I feel like a little bit too much on the Darkhold and all that.
I mean, I didn't mind that as much. I feel like
I didn't mind it either.
Yes,
it doesn't affect me.
It definitely helped the story, but on one hand, for being a book, they kind of set it up as a lot more dangerous than it should have been, I think.
Yeah, but two, and this is my big problem. Why did we only see like 3 universes in Multiverse of Madness?
Right, it's kind of disappointing.
That was my big problem. Like, they spent so much time in the one with like the Illuminati, which, by the way, was crap. That was such a cool setup, and they literally didn't do anything.
They had Wanda come in and just decimate them all. And for being like a multiversal collection of the strongest people in the multiverse, having her come in and in like 5 minutes of screen time just kill every single one of them, it's just so disappointing. Like, sure, she's powerful, and I get that, but that is not the way you handle that. That is just sad.
Not to mention, what is it, Reed Richards, right? Who's Mr. Isn't he one of like the smartest people in the MCU?
Yes,
and he pulled off such a stupid thing, like telling her that he uses his mouth, and like
yeah.
It was just, there was so much hope. There definitely was some redeeming factors. I think there were some cool points, but overall, I'd say honestly, I think that's my most disappointed Marvel movie.
Yeah,
because there's so much going for it. Like I said, like Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters in the MCU. Like one of the best movies, like top 5 without a doubt for me. And they just it was terrible. Not to mention the ending was crap. Like he revealed him like his third eye, then all of a sudden, he's good. He's chilling. He's not bad.
Yeah,
it really, I'm honestly gonna give it a 2. Like,
yeah, I can agree with you
just
there.
the low of the MCU.
Definitely the worst one they've put out.
Well, one of these movies isn't out yet, so last movie.
Yes, Thor: Love and Thunder. I haven't seen.
Have you seen it? This one? You haven't seen it. So do you want to skip it since spoilers, or?
How about this? I'm going to take my headset off. You have 1 minute to rant about it all you want. Go.
All right. So, it was definitely interesting. I loved the part where Zeus just got absolutely impaled. I just realized. He's going to have to listen to this to sync it up. I thought it was pretty good. Disappointing. I didn't like the villain. I thought it was really random. There are some parts. Interested to see the next Thor movie, though, or whatever. I think it's probably going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think it's going to be a Thor movie.
Okay, time's up. You done?
So, I realized you're going to have to go through and make sure it works, so I didn't actually talk that much. Because you're going to have to listen to, like, sync it up. Make sure it's, like, synced.
Okay. It's fantastic. Jolly.
Anyway,
Yep, so that's the end of the movies for now, because Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not yet out. It comes out later this year.
How do you think that's, excited for that? Like,
I am excited for that.
I just don't know how I feel, because I really liked it for the actor. Like, I really liked him as, like, Black Panther, so I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's just not as exciting as it could have been.
I'm not looking at this as a Black Panther movie. I'm looking at this as a continuation of Wakanda and, like, that story, because obviously Black Panther is its own thing. Nothing's going to live up to that. So I think if we look at this without the expectations of that, like, Black Panther legacy, it's definitely probably going to be a good movie.
That's fair, yeah. I think it's going to be pretty good. It's just not as exciting as it could have been for me. But then to the shows.
On to the shows, baby. Okay. Starting out,
wow.
WandaVision.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Oh,
no,
boy.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I love
Actually, that's wrong. I can't say 10 out of 10, JJ. I'm sorry.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Fantastic. Not only...
Best, honestly, is it the best? I don't know which I like more. This is such a hard decision. What did I like more, WandaVision or Loki? Because they were both 10 out of 10s, at least.
Fantastic.
This is, like, the peak of the MCU, in my opinion. These are my favorite pieces of, like, media from like superhero media, that is. There's some other media that I like a lot more, but for superheroes, these two shows were the best.
Yes.
100%. The story was great. The CGI and like all that sort of stuff, great. And like just the fights and everything, it was just so good.
It was amazing. And like,
and WandaVision, for someone like me who's like grew up and my dad made me watch a lot of old shows, like that whole sitcom thing, the black and white and going up each era was, how many shows do you know that do that?
Like zero. It was such a
it's such an interesting concept, and it was a cool way to introduce Sword as well. I thought it was a really cool way to show her grieving and her like just mourning a Vision. It was such an interesting way to go through that.
And like the fact that every episode jumped into a different time period of sitcom
or a different show.
Yeah. It was just so interesting to see. And then jumping over to what's going on with
don't
Sword.
Forget Quicksilver.
You have all these different characters, like bringing back the characters from Thor, characters from Ant-Man, like bringing all these series together to help fight on the outside of what's happening on the inside. On top of the fact that we're now bringing in all these different characters from the comics, and everybody's like community theorizing per like episode that comes out every week. Hey, what's going to happen next? Well, let's go here and look at these comics, and that'll help us determine this over that. But then nobody expected when they pulled in Quicksilver and they're like, hey guys, you remember this guy who was in the Fox universe? Yeah, he's now here, but guess what? It's not actually him. It's just a dick joke.
No, 11 out of 10 at minimum 11 out of 10 for WandaVision.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it kind of stinks that they did that to show off. Like, the only thing I have to say about doing a show like that as the first for phase like 4 shows, it kind of just, it was such a hard thing to live up to afterwards.
Yeah.
All these other shows had this to work up to, this Titan, which I think almost everyone can agree WandaVision and Loki are the best of the shows so far.
Yes.
I think almost everyone agreed with that. So having to live up to those Titans with all these other shows, it's just kind of unfortunate for those shows.
Yeah.
I need to quickly charge my computer. So if you want to start off Loki.
Okay. Now, and take a deep breath after WandaVision. Okay, so Loki. Loki was also a fantastic show. I feel like Loki hit all the points that WandaVision was setting up so perfectly, because obviously WandaVision kind of teased like the whole multiversal thing, right? Even at the end there with that end scene, it was just setting up so many different things. And then Loki jumps over. Here's like all this time travel side effects that happen from Endgame. This Loki variant, we now learn, is what they're referred to as, is now in
they're so special.
The TVA. And it's like we learn about this whole new world where power means absolutely nothing. Like you have the Infinity Stones.
You literally saw a drawer of Infinity Stones, which I loved.
Right.
I absolutely loved that. Loki was great. I loved the adventure. Like he really grew as a character. Like he's one of my favorite MCU characters. And to see him grow like he did, it was beautiful. It was like poetic.
Yeah.
Him building friendships and that whole dark, like what was the world after the end of time?
Oh gosh, what was it?
The Void or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Those few episodes are great. However, I don't know how I feel about him dating himself.
I feel like it is the perfect example of a multiverse show. Like
that's what I wanted
here. Even I think like the Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty coming up, which are apparently all about the multiverse. I feel like this was the perfect representation of a multiverse, because it takes one character that has such a narrow personality that we know. Like, sure, like he has a defined character and everybody loves that character, but what happens if you take that character and fan it out
and
into
switch
like,
it up.
So many different things? You got your old Loki, you got your alligator Loki, you got Kid Loki, you got female Loki, you got all these different versions of him that all have something in common, but they're all different from different realities. It's just so cool to see, and I feel like they nailed on the dot what the multiverse should be in the show.
But here's another thing, like I said, with WandaVision. They did almost too well, because then what came after this? Doctor Strange. And that was so disappointing, because we had the expectation of Loki. With these other multiverses, if they don't live up to the expectations of Loki, that's because Loki was just the peak. Like, how are they going to get to that level or higher with these movies? It's going to be really hard, and they kind of put themselves in a corner.
If you peak too early, you're not going to be able to make anything good from there on out.
Yeah, which we've very much seen with the next show.
Oh dear. I'll let you start with this one.
So, I want to say this first because I don't want to get canceled or anything. It's not like I have anything against any of this, but I've said this before. I want these shows to be a way to get away from reality. And when they brought all this Black Lives Matter, racism and politics into it, it just ruins that. It makes it
probably
too
mention
much.
what show we're talking about.
Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's just all that ruined it. I felt like it focused too much on the new Captain America being colored than Captain America's new legacy.
It were more focused on, hey, yeah, Captain America's gone now, but he had somebody he trusted and gave that role to.
Like Spider-Man.
Instead of focusing on the significance of that person being colored, it's just...
Yeah.
It kind of...
Now, I do want to say, though, it did have one good episode, that John Wick episode.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
That was definitely the best, and, one of the only episodes that if I ever went back to rewatch, that's the only episode I'm rewatching. It was good. If you don't know, one of the episodes was directed by the same person who made the John Wick series. And in that episode, they were hunted, just like in John Wick, and they had to go through, and it very much felt like the same thing with all the different fights, fight after fight, just like the John Wick movies.
Yeah. Even the environments felt pretty similar.
Yeah, the whole setting and everything just felt like a John Wick movie, just a little bit more Marvel themed.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to mention the CGI was also terrible in this.
Yeah.
Was it as bad as Multiverse of Madness? No. I'd say a 4 out of 10. Yeah, it was still bad, but not as bad as Multiverse.
There, 4 is probably best. We'll just pat this little guy on the head, sit him in his little beanbag chair, and say, "Go away."
Loki. Okay, I'm also gonna have to Loki. That's just what that's what came out after this. One thing I should say is neither of us have watched She-Hulk, I believe, and I still haven't seen Moon Knight or Miss Marvel.
I watched a recap of Miss Marvel, so I can talk a little bit on that.
I'm also not too worried about spoils, so you very much can go ahead and talk your heart out.
Are you worried about Moon Knight spoilers?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start with Hawkeye here. Did you finish Hawkeye?
I think so. It was a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Hawkeye. I really enjoy Hawkeye's character, and I know you've said before that you like the more human characters, so he's definitely
Hawkeye, especially, and the whole part that he had trauma in his ear and he needed a hearing aid. I thought that was a really interesting concept to go with for an Avenger. This is also one of the last Avengers.
Yeah.
The fights were cool. I kind of liked the Kate Bishop, right?
Yeah.
I really like that character, and I've said this so many times in the last one. I love that parental figure type deal, and I really feel like that's kind of what happened here. He was trying to protect her like a daughter, so I really liked that, and that definitely drove me towards that.
I just love Haley Steinfeld as an actor, so I was kind of biased.
Now, is this a 11 out of 10 like Loki and WandaVision? No, but is it crap like Falcon and Winter Soldier? No. I'm gonna say a 7.
I'd say 7.5. It was a good show for being what it said it was gonna be. Not to mention getting the Netflix characters in there like Kingpin. We saw Kingpin in that show, and I feel like that definitely reinforced a lot of things. People are excited to see the new Daredevil series and whatnot. So
definitely. So these next few shows, since we haven't seen either its entirety or don't know too much about, let's just try to speed through these because we still have Phase 5 and 6.
So Moon Knight, I'll give my opinion here. Moon Knight, I absolutely loved. I feel like it is definitely one of the strong ones. It's up there with Loki and WandaVision. Not as high. I'd put it at 8.5. But as far as the shows go and how Phase 4 has been looking, it is definitely one of the best they've put out. Just the whole dynamic, they absolutely nailed on the head. It didn't feel like WandaVision did in terms of week-to-week theorizing, but they definitely hit it real well with the whole aspect of two personalities and whatnot. And there was a fair amount of mystery in there. So,
and what he just said with WandaVision, as you've probably seen with our Fortnite content, we very much like theorizing, so it was really cool to watch those episodes and watch the commercials in WandaVision and all that sort of stuff. We didn't really talk about the commercials. I really like those, like that, like those little hidden messages to older shows, this and that, other comic, like timeline type things.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that, and that's another reason why those are so high up for us. I just wanted to, like, since we didn't talk about the commercials and talk about the theorizing.
But yeah,
So.
Moon Knight is definitely like an 8.5 for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. From what I've heard, it's good, but a lot of, like, again, like, just the fact that it's not canon, I think
see, that
partially...
nobody knows, though, right now. Like,
well, nobody knows,
it
but...
wasn't linked
I very
directly,
much...
but it is technically canon because they said all the shows coming out are canon to the MCU. So
we've talked about this, but we didn't do it on a podcast or anything. We have a theory, and I very much am for it, that these characters that are a little bit more gory, like Daredevil, Punisher, and Moon Knight, might be like Universe 617 or something. They're just going to be a different timeline. Yeah. Still connected,
either
but just
they're
a different
universe, or they're just a smaller team in the main universe that are going to be doing their own things.
Yeah, because I just don't see Moon Knight teaming up with Kate Bishop anytime soon.
Yeah. But anyways, Miss Marvel,
was it good? I just haven't heard much because I've been like, you know, dealing with college and also a lot of other stuff, and just I've kind of been burnt out with Marvel after Endgame.
Yeah, I opted to skip this one because it just didn't look like something I'd be interested in. I did see the only real things that amounted from it were there were several references to the X-Men, saying like talking about mutations and whatnot, and then they played the theme from like the old cartoon or something, and then in the very end she like somehow magically warps and swaps places with Captain Marvel, so apparently that's going to tie into the next Captain Marvel movie, so I guess we will see there, but that's like the only important things that came out of that.
Okay. And
She-Hulk. Boy, do I have some words.
Actually,
what?
So same exact thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's just bringing in that girl power a little bit too much. Nothing against it. Like, I love that scene in Endgame, but when they took it too strong, and they're making the Hulk just too weak and just not important as he should be.
They're trying to plead that women are so strong and powerful on their own that they're
which is very true,
neglecting that.
But
Hulk
there's so much more to it.
Big Hulk, like.
He's supposed to be a monster and super strong. Like, that is his whole character, and they're just kind of threw it out the door. Not to mention the fact that there is literally twerking in the show.
Right? Who needs Megan Thee Stallion twerking with She-Hulk to make girl power a better statement? Like, come on.
And the whole clapping thing, like, seeing all the. Now, I haven't actually seen it, but what would you rate it out of 10? Is this going to be worse than Doctor Strange? Because I very much think that's the worst of the MCU.
Honestly, I think this has been performing the worst out of everything so far, so I would not be surprised.
So are you gonna give this the 1, or is this gonna be tied with Doctor Strange?
So far, I think we'll give it the 1. I think it's definitely probably the worst thing so far, so we'll let that sit at 1. If I change my mind later, we'll see. Not
to mention, her skin's too smooth. Like, you look at the Hulk and he's such a big monster.
Yeah.
It just looks like her face is painted green. Like, it's just
honestly, though, that would have been better than this CGI. If she was just painted green.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I'm going to have to give it a 1 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
Of those two, which one would you watch first?
What do you mean, Miss Marvel or She-Hulk?
Yeah.
Miss Marvel, definitely.
Good answer.
Yeah.
There's only one correct answer for that, and if not, I would have kicked you from the podcast.
Definitely.
For all you, I eventually do want to get around and watch Eternals and both of them, because I just want to have that check mark that I've watched everything of the MCU. Is it something that I'm going to watch right now? No. Like, if I want to watch something, definitely going to be like Moon Knight or rewatching WandaVision or Loki. Like, it's just not on my top priority list. But eventually I will watch them. I don't want to, like, because I also just want to give it a little, like, I watch a lot of anime, and a lot of them that are really bad, I cut it slack and watch a few episodes to see how bad it really is before I give a proper opinion. These, very clearly, some problems that I very much can see without watching it, but I do want to watch them to just blind and just give a proper watch without all the social bias.
But anyways, that concludes Phase 4. So now we're going to be hopping into Phase 5 here.
And from this point on, it's going to be more theorizing and leaks, which JJ probably will be leading a lot more.
Yes. I can use what's on fandom here to kind of kick us off, and you can read along because I believe you have that open too. But I do know a bit more details from my leaker guy that I watch on YouTube. So,
Is it Camping Russia?
yes, because he leaks Marvel stuff.
I mean, doesn't he? The whole
No.
Marvel comic?
Well,
Marvel comic, that's Marvel stuff, and that's leaks.
You know what?
Okay.
Go suck a pickle. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's the first thing in Phase 5. So, what do you think? Are you excited for a third Ant-Man movie?
I feel like for where they left it, I'm definitely excited to see a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my favorite? No. But is it better than others? Like, honestly, I'd say I really like Ragnarok, but I'd say the Ant-Man have been more enjoyable than the Thor movies. Because other than Ragnarok, there wasn't a big Thor, but I think both the Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2 did well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed both of those, whereas the Thor, I only enjoyed one or two of them. So, definitely one of the better series, series, Ant-Man. And the whole Quantumania, it's just one of those things that's super fascinating, and it's like one of those almost realistic sciences.
Yeah.
Compared to other stuff we've seen. I'm not saying it's realistic. Compared to other stuff we've seen, though, it's more realistic. And I just think it's going to be really cool to see where they go with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited to see kind of that quantum realm aspect, because I really liked that in the first two movies. Like, they touched on it briefly in them, but it was definitely cool.
Yeah, especially the first movie, he did at the end, and that's it. And the second movie, they went a little bit in, but it definitely was getting there. That was more of the second movie. So this one, I think we're actually going to be there a bit and explore it.
Yeah. All right, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That is after that. So, do you know
So from what I've
this?
heard, a lot of people are thinking some people are going to die.
Oh, no, it's confirmed. It's outright confirmed.
It's confirmed.
I think it was Kevin Feige. Don't quote me on that, though. Somebody big in Marvel, working there, said that this is going to be the end of the Guardians as we know them now. Like, this team that we have, that is going to be the end of them. We might see, this character individually in this movie, but, we are not getting another Guardians movie, and we are not going to see the entire team as it is now in a movie. So
that kind of stinks, because that's the one I really thought they can do more, because from the shows and everything, they've done so much more.
Yeah.
They're almost done as much as, definitely not close, but it feels like they're on the track of the Avengers doing all this crazy stuff, and they only got 2 movies and a little reference in Endgame, like every other character.
Yeah, I definitely think they could have used a lot more. Because, Chris Pratt is amazing. I absolutely adore him. So...
As Mario? No. As Star-Lord?
Not
yes.
As Mario. But, yeah, I feel like he would have been so good.
Was great,
leading almost a whole new side of the MCU. Just,
and I loved him in the second movie. Him with his father. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, it was definitely
Now, that really stinks. Now, one thing with... the Thor movie, right? We think that's probably going to be the end. That's what a lot of people were saying. That's the end of Thor, possibly. But from the end credit scene, which I'm not going to explain, but it definitely seems like there's something more. And with it, there wasn't much Guardians. So I'm wondering if we get Guardians of the Galaxy version 2, where we do get a new team of Guardians, kind of like the Avengers.
I
think
see
there's
that,
a chance. Because I just don't see the Guardians of the Galaxy only getting 3 movies. For what they are, but contracts and all that, I could see that, but I can see it, and I think it's a high possibility that we get a reboot of Guardians of the Galaxy or something with a new team, slightly changed.
Yeah,
because I just don't see it only ending on after 3.
The Marvels. Then.
Okay, just so you know, we do have 30 minutes to try to go through the rest of this. So we gotta pick up the pace.
Shouldn't be too hard, but yeah, the Marvels.
No, yeah.
This one is going to be
I don't
Captain
know much
Marvel,
about this one.
Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau all together.
Who is?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Monica Rambeau from WandaVision.
Okay.
With the poofy hair and got the powers at the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Okay.
So it's going to be all 3 of them in a movie together. We don't know too much about the story, but we know it's a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can expect it's
Alright.
going to have something to do with that cosmic energy, because that's the one thing they all have in common.
Yeah. Which is definitely one of the things I did like about Captain Marvel. The movie itself wasn't too good, but I did like that that whole energy system, because I feel like that's something that's explored more in the comics and we haven't seen much in the MCU. The next one, Blade.
Blade. I feel like that's definitely going to be along the lines of Moon Knight. Be a little bit more gory.
That's what we're saying. It's going to be a lot more
teens and adults. Probably within that smaller universe.
If that's what they're doing, which we don't know at this point. Yeah,
Captain America New
he's
World
not a
Order,
big.
then?
Just not looking forward to.
Not at all.
And it's just Steve Rogers is what made Captain America Captain America. Like, I know there's others, but like even like Peggy Carter, it just didn't feel the same as Steve Rogers. This scrawny kid who literally couldn't do anything and becoming a symbol of hope and freedom for the world.
Like, name him, like,
it was great.
Captain Falcon or something. Like, don't rebrand him as the new Captain America. He needs to be somewhat separate because he's a different character.
Not to mention, I feel like Falcon had enough going for him as the Falcon. Like, he was important, just hanging out in, what was it, Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Like, he had enough going for him that he could have been his own character, especially in Ant-Man and, like, all that. He had a character, and they kind of just threw away his character and made him Captain America.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Thunderbolts. I'm kind of excited for this one. This one is going to be a bunch of, like, various characters that they've set up, like from Ant-Man 2, that ghost girl that could like phase things.
Yeah.
Then you have Black Widow's sister. What's her name?
Whoever she is, I know what you're talking about.
She's part of it. I'm trying to look. Is there a list of characters here? Can't see.
I'm trying to think. Is Thunderbolts?
Here we go.
Black Bolt. What team was his? What was he a team of?
Black Bolt.
Or was it Black Bolt who was the one who spoke loudly? That was Black Bolt, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's part of a team.
I don't know. He might have been the Inhumans, actually.
Inhumans, yeah, I was Inhumans.
Yeah, anyways, Yelena, Bucky, U.S. agent,
Bucky.
the rip-off Captain America from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No.
Taskmaster, Red Guardian, Ghost.
Ooh, Taskmaster is interesting.
The weird Valentina lady from the various shows.
Okay.
That's going to be...
That sounds interesting. That sounds pretty cool.
Apparently it's supposed to be along the lines of, like, they're a Suicide Squad type of thing.
I was about to say, this sounds like Suicide Squad. So that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for that.
Television shows. Secret Invasion. So what I've heard... From what you've told me, this is the one with Nick Fury a lot, right?
It's like a big mystery, kind of like a game of Clue. I guess that's something you compare it to. Or no, more like a game of Among Us, where he's trying to figure out who on Earth is a Skrull and who's not.
Okay.
So it's definitely going to be a fun one to watch. I love Fury's character, so it's going to be pretty fun to see.
No, yeah. If it has as much Nick Fury as you're saying, this might be. It's not gonna. I don't think anything could ever go to WandaVision and Loki, but this might get up there with like Endgame, like in the 9 range.
Yeah.
If they do it right, and if the CGI gets good.
Yeah.
If they keep the CGI like it's been going, I don't care how well the story is. I don't care. Stop making them look like plastic and looking like you copy pasted an image on a picture.
Echo. I know nothing about this one.
Don't know about this one either. So do you just want to skip it?
Here, let me read the synopsis.
Or let's
the origin story of Echo revisits Maya Lopez, whose ruthless behavior in New York City catches up with her in her hometown. She must face her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace the meaning of family and community if she ever hopes to move forward. Immediate thought kind of sounds like another representation kind of thing, but I mean, I'm not opposed to the sound of it. It sounds like it could be good if they do it right.
I looked up the character. She like seems interesting. Like right here, she's got like her hand on fire or something. Like it seems like her power set could be interesting compared to some of the others. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Loki season 2. Hype for that.
I don't know because with how they've been doing, I'm scared they're gonna ruin our child.
Honestly, I think there's only so far they can ruin it at this point, right? I feel like the most it can drop is down to an 8, because it's still Loki, still the same characters, and they're still, like, I feel like they have the same director and stuff on, so worst case scenario is they step in too late.
I am looking forward to it, but I am just kind of skeptic on it, because just with how the MCU's been handled after Loki, it just hasn't done well. So I am slightly nervous.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be great, especially with the whole, like, at the end, that cliffhanger of nobody knowing who he is. I wonder how he's going to deal with that. That's going to be really interesting. So, Ironheart.
Okay.
What's this one? Do you know about this one?
I do know about this one. Apparently, okay, Riri Williams. Let me Google this quick. Riri.
If you hear any typing, we're looking this up because this is where we just don't know. We just want to kind of give our opinion on our thoughts of what could happen in the future once these start happening. So that's why you're hearing us type and do all that sort of stuff. Well,
it
looks
sounds like she's just a character inspired by Iron Man who creates her own Iron Man type suit. But like,
it looks like she's from Wakanda as well. Because right here, this one picture of the comics have some Wakanda characters in it.
Okay.
So it looks like a Wakanda Iron Man type of. I mean, the suit itself does not look Wakandan. But that could be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, facility
actually,
shows a lab. So
actually, right here's another character picture. It's her with like a Tony Stark behind her. So look at the suit too. Like, do you see like that arc reactor like middle thing?
Like I said, it looks like she was very inspired by Tony's design and then took it into her own hands and like made it her own.
And the fact that it's like Tony Stark's up there is one of my favorites. If that's what it is, I literally had no idea before looking at it right now. That sounds promising.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that could be pretty cool.
And it could be cool as a show as well, since it's more time.
Agatha Coven of Chaos.
Same thing with Loki too. WandaVision, up there, one of the best, but I'm also just worried that they're going to ruin it. So if they do it the same way as the original, I think this could even be, compared to Loki, I don't think Loki 2 can beat Loki 1, right? I don't think it's going to pull, but I think this one can. I very much think Agatha Christie could possibly take over and I think I can enjoy it more than WandaVision.
But they have to do it right. They
have to do it right.
So
I think she has the potential, but we just don't know if that's going to happen or not.
We'll definitely see. Daredevil Born Again. This is apparently a sequel series to the original Daredevil show. So
from Netflix?
Yes.
Oh.
From what I understand.
I didn't... Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yes. I haven't seen too much more about this, but, all the different characters are coming back. Apparently Kingpin will make an appearance. There will be a new villain. He'll get a costume change more accurate to the comics, so he'll have, the yellow in his costume.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch this one almost certainly. I did not see the original Daredevil. I'm debating going back and watching it once they put it on Disney Plus, so we'll see.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that about concludes Phase 5.
In Phase 6, we have 3 things.
Yep, just 3 for now. Fantastic Four. Any opinions on that?
I am excited. I really liked some of the Fantastic Four characters. I really can't wait. And unpopular opinion, I kind of liked the reboot that came out. I thought it was good.
It wasn't a bad movie, but if you compare
I don't think it was as good as the originals.
Yeah, it's just...
But I liked it. I liked it. Was it my favorite version of Doom? No. Yeah. Doom sucked. But overall, I thought it was pretty well. So I'm looking forward to see the MCU adaptation of the Fantastic Four.
I hope they... See... I'm torn on this. I hope they keep that same guy that they had in Doctor Strange as Reed Richards, but I know if they do, people are going to get confused about whether or not it is the same guy or not. So I don't think they can safely make that choice.
Not.
But in my own little headcanon, I want them to, because he was so perfect for that role.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then we have our 2 Avengers movies, our Infinity War and Endgame of Phase 5, or Phase 6, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Any comments?
Honestly, we'll have to wait. I just don't know, because we just don't know much about Kang. We know a version of Kang, but there's going to be so much more, and we haven't seen him. Like, I very much don't think it was a very malicious intent Kang and Loki. He didn't seem evil.
Yeah.
Well, it almost felt like Thanos. Like, he had good intentions. Like, Thanos had good intentions. He really just wanted to save the planet. He just went about it a very poor way. Same thing. I think he had a good, like, idea, you know, trying to save, you know, the multiverse from collapsing. But I think he just went about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Especially wiping everyone's mind. So I just don't think we know much about the MCU King to really go off of for these two.
But, you know, we can pull some details from the comics. I know Secret Wars is a huge comic. It's practically the multiversal war, like all these different universes coming together and fighting each other. I think the premise was they all come together in like almost like a gauntlet, like they have to all fight each other, and the last universe standing is the one that gets to survive, or something along those lines. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. Is there anything else? There were some other big leaks or something that you wanted to talk about. Did we already talk about them?
Yeah,
or
mostly. It was more
just
so
some Phase 5 stuff.
Phase 5, yeah.
All right. Well,
anything you want to hop back to?
I don't think so. Like I said, I've kind of just been burnt out on Marvel, but I think if they pull back some of this multiverse and do it right, I definitely think there's hope for Phase 5.
Out of everything,
especially with the Nick Fury stuff.
What's the one thing you look forward to most?
Honestly, Nick Fury. Just, like, Nick Fury content.
I mean, that's understandable, yeah. I'm just personally really excited to see where they go with, like, these more PG-13 characters like Blade and the Thunderbolts, and, like, it seems like they have a plan, but we know nothing about that plan yet. It seems like they're setting something up. They started it with Moon Knight, right? Like, we have Moon Knight, and they purposefully did not connect him to any of the MCU we know right now. And I think that's because when Blade comes out, they're going to immediately connect that to him. I think that's probably going to be the first step into making that universe. And then from there, they can add things like Daredevil in, and then, who knows, maybe this Echo character will be part of that. And then
that could be cool, possibly, yeah.
It just seems like they're setting something up, and it could be really cool, but we know nothing about it yet. So,
which is kind of nice. I think we needed that. So
yeah, I would agree there.
Well, I think for me that's really it. Do you have anything else you want to say? It's a little short of an episode, but
if any of these shows, not counting like Loki and all those other ones that we know, which one would you give a season 2? Like, even if it hasn't come out yet, like, if you think it has potential. Like, which of the shows do you think deserves a season 2?
She-Hulk.
No.
So, like, including the ones that didn't come out yet?
Yes, including the ones that didn't come out. Like, say, Ironheart is a 2-season
I was about to say
story.
Ironheart sounds the most promising.
You think?
For the new stuff that we don't know. Like, Secret Invasion, would I love? Yes, but that kind of, with how Nick Fury's been, it might be a wrap-up point. It might be one of those types of shows. Because Nick Fury's been around for so long. Would I want this? No, but would I understand that they kind of need to retire him soon?
He's kind of old.
And I think
like,
that's...
Oh gosh, how old is he? Wait, what's his name?
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
He is 73.
Yeah, so would I want it? No, but he needs to be retired soon.
Yeah.
Contract is that. So I think that's what Secret Invasion's going to be, meaning once he leaves, there's really no point. I'm not going to care anymore.
They just got to get you hooked on a new leader character.
Yeah.
Like, we need another face of, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. and I guess, like, Sword could be the new S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Coulson.
No more Coulson.
Come on, there's been like 7 of them in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's not canon!
They're all great.
It's not canon!
Bro, that show, there was so many Coulsons and I kind of loved it.
No.
Honestly, though, I think you're right. With how we're going with Kang Dynasty, it's like, S.H.I.E.L.D. handles, Loki, and we're getting the multiverse, like that's definitely a type of threat that I think Sword is kind of for.
Yeah.
So I could see Sword maybe getting a lot more information, secret invasion, stuff like that, and that's going to be more leading, and maybe that's kind of who brings the Marvels together or something. Maybe that's under Swords and this new group
that
could be through Sword,
right? I mean, maybe not after everything that happened, but I feel like she's definitely going to. That movie is definitely going to play a part in learning more about Sword, and I think they're purposefully setting up Sword as kind of like the new Shield, because if they're retiring the head of Shield, right, they kind of need a new organization along those similar lines, but new branding, like the Phase 5 seal, like this is the new phase of Marvel, kind of moving out of S.H.I.E.L.D. into Sword.
So, Secret Invasion would be what I want, but I just don't see it because of that whole thing. But like I said, Loki, all that, great. But Ironheart, for the new ones that we don't know much about, would be the one I think has the most promise and I'm most looking forward to.
I really hope
just from the base information. Like we literally read a quick summary about the characters. We don't know much about Echo. We don't know much about Thunderbolts. You don't know much about Ironheart. But from the little bit of information, that sounds the most promising to me as someone who loved Iron Man so much. And I think that's going to be really cool to see someone like Black Panther and Iron Man combo type thing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And it says she works in the workshop of Shuri, so we know she has some relationship to Shuri in some way, and I feel like they might end up setting that up in this next Black Panther movie, like maybe just a mention of the character, or like we'll see her as a small girl or something, and then eventually when she does get her show, she'll be a bit older. But I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see.
Yes.
I think that's really where we're going to end it. We'll see. We don't know much about the next few years of Marvel. Some look promising. Some look absolute crap.
Let's be honest here. A lot of them look absolute crap.
Shh. There's hope.
There's hope in a few things. All of it's going to come crashing and burning down, and Marvel's going to die, and then DC will have an uprise and then actually be good.
That will never happen.
I don't know. Did you hear the stuff about DC?
Just kidding. No, yeah. I think it's going to be up, but I think even if they're good now, I still think Phase 1 through 3 is going to be so much better than anything
I
DC
feel like
puts
that's
out.
Kind of
I think
solidified, like concrete, like some of the best media we can have.
Yeah. I just don't see anything going up to those standards.
Especially with how Disney's been lately, like politics in everything. I feel like that stage, like that point in time where Phase 1 through 3 stood, was just like the perfect time for Hollywood media, because they weren't trying to flood in politics, but there was also a good flood of like talented actors and good writers and everything at that point in time. And now it's like, okay, well, we have talented writers, but they're not hiring the right ones for the right projects. Or like, we have good actors, but they're always political, and if they're on the wrong political side, Disney won't hire them, and that kind of blocks out certain talent. And it's like, it just kind of ruins it because they're so overly political.
So I just, the new MCU, certain things seem like have a good hope, but overall, I just don't think we're ever going to live up to the hope. I don't think this Secret Wars and everything will be as big as Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, I think Secret Wars is a hope for me, because it's obviously, I love the multiversal stuff, and it being like a huge multiversal war, I feel like definitely is high hopes, but I feel like with the way
it all depends on how they go. Yeah. Well, not just that. It all depends on how they go with the multiverse. Because so far we've seen 2 multiverses: Doctor Strange, crap, and Loki, fantastic. It all depends on how they handle the multiverse. If they don't do well with it, I will not be excited. But if they pull out some Loki stuff and keep it like that, that will make me look forward to it.
They just need a way of focusing it, because I feel like a big problem with Doctor Strange was that they didn't have enough way to like focus it in as like, hey, this is a if the term multiverse of madness is hard because it's a huge multiverse. Like, there are billions and gazillions of different multiverses to tap into. They took like 5 or 6 and collided them together and it didn't feel like enough, whereas Loki was like, okay, we're taking one character and showing you 5 different variants of that one character, and they nailed it. So I feel like if they find a way to narrow it
to do
down
a little bit of
enough,
both,
but still give us variation, like they did with Loki, take one thing and give us variants of that one thing, right? Don't take everything and give us variants of everything, because that's going to be too chaotic, people aren't going to follow, and it's just not going to be as entertaining. You need to focus your fan base, focus your attention span as to not confuse people.
And I think what I'm going to have to say to that is, we will see. And I think that's where we're going to end it off, because I feel like no matter where we're going to go, it's just a matter of, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Zombre, also known as Seth, with my co-host, a bot.
Wow. No, it's pickles and cheese sauce, remember?
That's right, pickles and cheese sauce. What about custard? Pickles and custard.
Gosh, that just sounds revolting.
Like you.
Thank you.
Peace!